Okay, change of scenery here. I'm currently running on my Windows machine now, and I'm gonna first show very briefly how to install PuMA, or pumapy actually, because we're on Windows, on Windows. First, I assume that everybody has installed Anaconda on their Windows machines, and so now we're gonna be able to create the Conda environment, and I'll call it again PuMA tutorial. And I'll also install pip inside this environment. So once this completes, I'm gonna go ahead and pip install PuMA, actually pumapy. And so the creation is completed, so I'll go ahead and say conda activate pum_tutorial, and then pip install pumapy. It's gonna install all the dependencies as it does for conda install. And so once this is completed, we're gonna be able to run pumapy on Windows. And then at that point, I'm also gonna show you very briefly how to create a PyCharm project, which actually I can show you while that is running. Okay, the pip install is already complete. So I'll go ahead and create a new project, and I'll just go and call it again PuMA tutorial. And then for the interpreter, I need to go and pick the one that I've just created inside the environment. So in here, it's probably not going to showing. So in here, I need to go into Anaconda, and PuMA tutorial, PuMA Python X. Okay, create. So this main.py is gonna be auto-generated. At this point, I've also created a small Python script that we can run. We'll paste it in here. And so let me first check that PuMA is running. All right. So this warning is normal, and it's just saying that TexGen is not found, and it's because we're running on Windows. So that's to be expected. So this small script that I created basically just is gonna help us deal with the GUI, and basically let us automatically export a weave from the GUI, the TexGen GUI, and import it inside pumapy. So now I'm gonna open the TexGen GUI, which I'd already pre-installed. I'll go ahead and generate a similar layer-to-layer weave as I did for the Python script on the Mac. So I'll give it 4 layers so that it will look similar to the one that I had. And so I'll go next, and I'll just make it a little more interesting so that it has some weaviness in it. And then I'll accept. Once that is generated, you will see here in the TexGen output, it has been generated. So now the way that I'm gonna be able to export this from the GUI is by basically going here inside export, and then inside voxel mesh. However, what we need to figure out first is how many voxels we want in each dimension, because that TexGen doesn't do that for you automatically, and that's where the Python script that I had created is gonna come handy. So the way that I'm gonna do this is basically by plugging in the largest dimension that I want. In this case is 200, and then first I need to comment this last few lines, and then I'm gonna basically need to fill in the dimensions that are shown here in the 3D rendering. So for the X dimension, for example, here it goes from 0 to 4, as I had already filled in. In the Y dimension is 0 to 2.5, and in the Z, okay, it's exactly the same. So I will press run for this one. This will give us the 3 dimensions that I need to plug in here. So it would be 200, and 125 for the Y and 41 for the Z. And then at this point I'm going to output it so that it's called as it's suggested by this script, the file name with test, and then you need to put basically the 3 dimensions. Save. Once this is successfully exported, I will be able to plug it inside, re-import it inside PuMA using the wrapper functions that I mentioned earlier. So it looks like, yeah, so it looks like it's now completed. And now I will import it and render the volume. It's also important to change the voxel size, which is one of the parameters that you can set inside the workspace. And as you can see, it is now being imported, and our voxel grid looks very nice. So this concludes the part about the integration between PuMapy and TexGen.